Hi everybody, John Bowens again with Equity Trust Company. In this segment, we're going to be talking about the Coverdell Education Savings Account. We have some frequently asked questions that have been brought to us that we're going to talk about through this training. We're also going to show you how an investor here at Equity Trust Company is using his 3 children's Coverdell Education Savings Accounts to invest in real estate and do it all tax advantaged. Let's get to the training. So our first question is, what is a CESA? What does CESA stand for? The acronym stands for Coverdell Education Savings Account. Now, this is essentially a tax-advantaged savings vehicle for your children's K through 12 education or college tuition. Essentially anything that is recognized by the Department of Education as an accredited institution, you could utilize the funds in the CESA account tax-free. And the key to all of this leads us to our next question, which is, how does a self-directed CESA work? Well, we can put money into the account, and then we have to find ways in which to grow the account in a tax-advantaged fashion. Now, many of our clients here at Equity Trust Company are primarily investing in alternative assets, investing well beyond traditional stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So from a real estate investment application, not that that's the only way to invest with the CESA account, but from a real estate investment application, let me share with you a quick case study. So a client here at Equity Trust Company, his name is Brian. He's from Tennessee. And in 2017, on just one real estate investment, he made $50,000 in his 3 children's Coverdell Education Savings Accounts. And here's how he did it. He found a vacant lot right outside of Nashville, Tennessee for $8,000. He bought the vacant lot using his 3 children's Coverdell Education Savings Accounts. CESA number 1 put in $4,000 for the $8,000 investment, got 50% equity in the deal. CESA account number 2 for child number 2 put in $2,000 of the $8,000 for 25% equity. And then CESA number 3 put in $2,000 of the $8,000 for the remaining 25% equity. So all 3 CESA accounts were partnered on the deal. He sold the vacant lot just 60 days after purchasing it to a real estate developer that had intent to build on the lot, and he made $50,000 in net tax-free profit across those 3 Coverdell Education Savings Accounts. CESA number 1 with 50% equity got 50% of the profits, which was $25,000. CESA number 2 got $12,500 and CESA number 3 got $12,500. But $50,000 tax-free in the CESAs, that's $50,000 that never hit Brian's 1040 as ordinary income. So really, really powerful case studies that we can share with you here at Equity Trust Company on utilizing the Coverdell Education Savings Account, going well beyond traditional stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You could also use the CESA account to lend money secured by real estate or lend money unsecured and invest in a wide array of other alternative investments. Okay, so what can the money be used for? Moving on to number 3. Well, it can be used for just about anything that is recognized by the Department of Education through an accredited institution. That's the best way to word it. What I'd encourage you to do to understand more about what it can be used for, go to either Internal Revenue Code 530, or you can also go to the IRS publication, which is Publication 970. And it'll give very specifics and also directories on where to go to learn more about what the money could be used for. But for all intents and purposes, think using the money for K through 12 education, not just for college tuition, and then of course for college tuition and other educational expenses. And it's pretty broadly encompassing. It includes just about everything related to education. So think your general fees, room and board, tuition, books, equipment, software, anything again that is recognized by the Department of Education as a legitimate educational expense. All right, and again, of course, the distribution, so as long as they're being used for those educational expenses, are tax-free. So what are the contribution limits for a Coverdell Education Savings Account? Moving on to number 4. And the contribution limit is $2,000 per year per child. One of the most common questions I get is, John, well, can I set up a CESA account for my child or grandchild and then have aunt or uncle set up a CESA account and mom and dad set up a CESA account and put in $2,000, $2,000, $2,000? It's the maximum $2,000 per year per child up until the age of 18. There are some exceptions to those rules for special needs children. So you can look up the publications for CESA accounts, again, 970 or Internal Revenue Code 530 to learn more about the special needs provisions. But for all intents and purposes, Most children up until the age of 18, you can contribute $2,000 per year. So that leads us to number 5, which is, are those contributions tax deductible? The answer is no. Many folks will get 529 plans confused with Coverdell Education Savings Accounts. Coverdell Education Savings Accounts, think of these accounts similar to a Roth IRA. You make contributions after tax, so you don't get a deduction. It grows tax-free through the investments that you're making, and then when you take the money out to use it for its intended purpose, which is for education, it's of course tax-free. And moving on to number 6, is there an income limit associated with making a contribution to a Coverdell Education Savings Account? And there is. These are what's referred to as modified adjusted gross income limits, meaning that if you make too much money, unfortunately you can't contribute directly to a Coverdell Education Savings Account. And those are as follows. If you're single, in 2019, if you make between $95,000 modified adjusted gross income and $110,000, you can only make a partial contribution to a CESA account. This is what's called the phase-out range. So as you get closer to that 110, you can only put a small fraction of the full $2,000 allowable limit on an annual basis. Once you're over $110,000, unfortunately, you can't contribute at all directly to a child or grandchild or other family members' Coverdell Education Savings Account. And then if you're married filing jointly, those MAGI limits, as you can see, are between 190 and 220. So between 190 to 220 is that phase-out range, and then as you breach 220, you can't contribute at all to a Coverdell Education Savings Account. All right, number 7, and I mentioned this before, is a 529 the same as a Coverdell Education Savings Account? It is not. One of the most common questions I get is, John, can I have a 529 and a Coverdell Education Savings Account? The answer is absolutely. You can have both 529 and CESA account. 529s, typically you do get tax deductions for the contributions made to the plan, but you're restricted on the types of investments that you select. So with 529s, you can't invest in real estate. You can't do real estate options or lending or other unique alternative investments. Whereas with a Coverdell Education Savings Account, you can invest in just about anything from an alternative investment perspective. So as long as you're following the same rules and regulations associated with an IRA or other self-directed retirement plan. All right, last but not least, how to open a Coverdell Education Savings Account. Well, this is a very simple, streamlined process. With Equity Trust Company, you could simply go online and start the process, or you can call us directly and one of our associates over the phone can help walk you through the paperwork to establish and fund the Coverdell Education Savings Account. Once the account is open, it's as simple as writing a check made payable to the CESA account or sending in an ACH direct deposit or wire transfer to fund the full $2,000 contribution if you intend on making a full contribution. For more videos here on YouTube, I'd encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get all of our updated notifications on when we have new videos released. We look forward to seeing you on our next segment.